Y'all, thank y'all. All
right, here we go. What is your name?
Yolande.
Your whole name?
Herron-Palmore.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Joe Palmore.
So, who are you?
Dona Lisa Morgan with one N.
So, tell us who you are.
I'm Tonica Renee Allen, maiden name Sweet, as in sugar.
Okay, who are you the parents of?
The parents of Joseph Deshawn Herron-Palmore.
Who is your child?
Kendrick Gerard Brown, my very first son that I love dearly.
Who is Brandon to you? Who is that?
Brandon is my youngest child and a leader. Brandon's always been.
Actors Quarantine Corner!
Now that we have opened the show up, we want to welcome y'all to Actors Quarantine Corner. We thank y'all for being here. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to come here and speak on your children. So we appreciate you all for doing that. So thank you first and foremost. When did you first discover your son was truly entertaining? Not all at once.
Okay, so check this out. When Kendrick was in high school, because Kendrick's always played sports. So when he was in high school, he decided that he was going to take theater so that he can get an easy grade. You know, he's always been good in school. He's always been a straight A student. And so I guess this was a way for him to just kind of slide into that easy A. And so he took drama, and there was a play that they did. It was actually a UIL play that they did. And my husband and I were kind of like, he plays football. You know, why is, he's trying to do this? Long story short, UIL play happened, and it was called...
Bury the Dead.
No, not that one. It was the Before It Hits Home. Before It Hits Home. And I remember sitting in the theater, and I see my child up on the stage, and it was so real. It was so real that after everything was said and done, there was tears running down my eyes, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you sitting here crying in front of all these people? And then I turn around, and everybody else is crying. Not only from his school, from his high school, but parents and students from the other schools. And I remember sitting back saying, he has the passion for this. This is what he's meant to do. Wow. And so at that point, I stopped trying to push sports on him and let him follow his dream.
Wow. Well, I remember I was teaching at TSU, and there was a Greek tragedy called, I think, Antigone by Sophocles. And I had invited Joseph because I said he'll be asleep by the first act. And so when we got there and we began to look at the play, I recognized that he was very interested in what was going on. And it was a Greek tragedy. And I was like, how in the world? This kid was before teenager. He was interested in that. And when I recognized that there was such a great interest, it caused me to realize that he may want to be a part of this area that I'm in as well. And so I was moved by his attention and by him not even going to sleep. And that we had a tremendous conversation afterwards as it relates to that play.
I think the thing that really hit me was when he got into speaking and he was on the debate team. To me, that was what really brought him out at Yates, which was interesting because I used to hear Yates' debate team before he was born, really, and I always said I wanted my child to do that. But little did we know that he even had an interest in it, and he really went far with it, and that's when I realized that he likes being in front of people and that he really has a gift for speaking and for taking on different characters.
I have a little bit of a different thing because I said once Brandon got into acting, I realized that Brandon has been acting all his life, but I just did not know it at the time because he's always had this personality, but when I realized it was when the first play that I think I realized it was when the fat lady sings at the main. It was on Main Street. I don't remember the theater, but I think Brandon played like 6 characters or 7 characters in that show. And I went to see it at least twice. And then after that, I was like inviting everybody I knew and that I didn't know. I was like, y'all have to come see my son. He is awesome. So I think that's when I really realized it. And he just, it's a passion for him. So that's when I was like, I'm supporting him.
How does it feel as a parent sitting in their audience and watching your son on stage perform?
Oh my God. If they would allow me, I would like walk around to everybody and say, that's my son. That's my son. This is his character. I'm so overwhelmed with pride when I see him on the stage, because to me, I realize that this is what he loves to do, and him being happy, it makes me happy. And so the way he jumps into character, I can remember, when he was in high school and he'd be, studying for his part, and he would be so passionate about it that I thought he was talking to somebody on the phone, and he was going through his lines, and and I would open up the door and I'd be, are you okay? He's like, no, Mom, I'm just doing my lines. And then never imagining that one day I would actually see him up on stage with other people around the city looking at him as well. It was a feeling beyond belief. I was so very proud of him, and I had no problem telling everybody in that audience that that's my son.
I actually tell everybody. I'm sitting around. You see that one right there? That's him. That's our son. That's our son. I'm really so proud of him, and watching his growth has been just amazing as he's taken on different roles.
The greatest gift you gave me was the fact that you would choose something that I do, and you found significance, you found purpose, you found meaning in it. And what that said to me spoke volumes. I didn't even know you were even watching. And the fact that you would receive it, would accept it, and then found your life meaning in it, was a tremendous blessing to me. And so when I see you, no matter what you're doing, whether you're at church or you're at the theater or you're outdoors, I'm somewhere weeping when I see the significance of your giftedness and what God is doing through you and with you. Oftentimes, I have to just ask, why did you choose that? And then I recognize that that's your calling. And everything else, I know you have to do some other things, but the reality is that's your calling. That's why you're wired. That's what God has called you. And so we are honored and very appreciative that you have chosen that and that you do it excellently.
And for me, it's just proud. I mean, and I like you. I'm telling everybody. I'm letting everybody know.
In fact, you
And
told me.
I probably did. I was like, I'll tell everybody.
Yeah.
That's my son right there. And I will get my posse together, and we are gonna come. And if they can come 2 or 3 times to the show, I'm gonna come at least 3 times, at least. And then if I can get other people to come, I'm gonna come the night that they come. And just support him because I've just seen the growth in Brandon in his acting, and even my friends. I was like, God, he is so talented. He is so talented. He needs to go to California or New York. And I was like, yeah, something, because he is very talented, and I support him 100%.
We try to come. We come the first night and the last night because we like to see the progression of how that character has grown, and not just in him, but in the whole play itself.
Yeah, first night, last night, and in between.
Yeah. And I told him, I'm so proud of him that sometimes we go 30 deep, because I'm that confident and I'm that proud that the feelings that I have for seeing him on stage is the same feelings that my friends and family would have seeing him on stage. And so just having him chase his passion is worth it. It is so worth it.
I send emails out. I send articles out. And I know people are probably tired of seeing it, but what I try to do is support them too. But I think it's important to know that, first of all, that black men are doing something other than
Say that.
right, than just being out on the street.
Yes,
Right.
say that.
And
Absolutely.
that black men can do creative things, I think that's important to validate that.
Definitely.
And to validate, it's become more important for me to validate even theater. Because when I met my husband, he was in theater, and I remember we weren't quite sure what that meant. He would have us off Broadway in New York in these little bitty corners of off Broadway theater, and I was like, and so this is really what he wants to do. But to see how it manifests itself, and now to see Joseph take the reins, has been just amazing.
And even so, I try to support Brandon, but then if I hear some of his co-arts or whatever, maybe that's not the right term, but the other actors, I will go and support them as well, just to show that, I'm supporting them too. He may not be in the play, but I'll try to go and
I like
see
the
them
fact
as
that
well.
you have also experienced diversity and that you are global and you're not relegated to a limitedness in terms of character or setting or play. There have been roles that were usually cut out for Caucasians, but I have found that the theaters risk the fact that they could choose you to do different roles that would require just your giftedness. And so it has been a blessing to see the expansiveness and your diversity and the openness that there are other ways and other views and other frame of references that people might be exposed to.
Now, when you say that, I remember when they were in Emmett Till.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And, you know, Kendrick was playing several roles.
Yeah,
You know?
he did. He did.
So
That's right.
I thought it was pretty amazing how he could switch up.
Yeah.
You know, Emmett Till. That's kind of touchy. You know, with everything that transpired about that in history, and for him to be able to switch over because he played the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then
He did.
having to play the side of us
Yeah.
as a people. I thought it was pretty amazing, and that always sticks in my mind. That made me see that how he could be diversified.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
whatever it is that he needed to do to switch over, that he was willing to do it. And in my opinion, because it's my child, he did it to perfection. You know, so
It's interesting that you mentioned Emmett Till because for me, that was probably the most critical play that I've seen him do. I actually felt like he was dying, and it was very hard for me to even watch it, to go again because he kept saying, "Mom, it's just a play," but it was so real that it was just very. And that was when I really knew how gifted he was. To make it that real was just amazing to me.
I think there were significant points, the evolution from Emmett Till to the one in prison. I don't remember the name of that one. She
Yeah,
is
that was
outrageous.
amazing.
Yeah.
The cadence, the maturity, the openness to the environment, the pulling in from various aspects of what was happening on stage in the audience. I just felt a sense of such evolution and growth from the two, from Emmett Till to Emmett Till the kid to the one in terms of
Even
he
how
was
he
on 8th
physically prepared for it.
became
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so the other piece too is that your grandmother loved you,
Oh gosh.
and that whatever you were, whatever you were going to perform, she was going to show up,
Yeah.
and always wanted to know
That's right.
when was the actual play, and when is he doing it next, and let me get on the plane so I can come and see him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that touches my heart because
And that
she
goes
loved
for,
you. She loved you enough.
That goes for Brandon's grandmother too, and his aunt, his biggest fans.
While you're sitting there in the audience, do you ever get nervous or scared for your son? Just to piggyback off what I first asked. Do you ever feel like you're feeling it? Do you feel like, oh, he might mess up, or he might do that, or do you get nervous, or do you think you get scared, or anything like that while watching?
I don't.
I don't.
I don't.
I don't. Only when he directed a couple of them, my fear was, I sure hope people like what he did, you know, because I know how much he invested in it, but never about his acting.
Mm-hmm. Because I've experienced you getting ready for it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Right.
by the time you get up there, one of the things that I find remarkable is your memorization
Oh my God.
and how many lines you can memorize.
Right.
You know.
That's amazing.
And so I'm just amazed that you can do that.
Now he acts like he's not ready for it. He always does. And Kate, his wife, and I always say at the end, you always told us that you wasn't ready, but look at what you did, you know. So I don't listen to him. I know that it's going to be okay.
And I think Brandon memorizes everybody's lines. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. I don't know that for a fact. But it seems like he does.
He'll be ready. Whatever.
Yeah, he's ready.
Yeah, in case he needs to step
Right,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I have never been nervous about
not
it.
nervous.
I've always been excited about, just waiting for him to come on stage. and do what he loves to do. And the passion that he puts into it makes it all worthwhile.
Mhm.
And so me being nervous about it, and then sometimes he may like mess up or something. I don't know he messed up,
Right.
No.
you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's able to like kind of redirect
Yeah.
and get himself back on track. So nervous is never an emotion that I felt when
Yeah.
he was on stage. It was more pride.
What makes him special?
He's special because he's selfless. He thinks about other people. He's passionate about his family, and he's gifted. He's gifted, and he's special because he's my son.
So who is Kendrick?
So Kendrick is an independent, strong-willed, hard worker, an absolutely wonderful father. He loves his wife, he loves his family, and he's passionate about the children that he teaches, and they love him back.
All right. Now I need you to answer me this. Okay. Who is Joseph Deshaun Herron-Palmore?
On what day?
Joseph mostly is very effervescent. He's a people person. One of the greatest memories that I have of Joseph is when he was about 7 months old. And the picture is that he is sitting in my director's chair that the cast had just bought me. And they were surrounding him, marveling him, and he had his hands all up on the director's chair as if he was in charge. And from that point on, I realized that he knew how to get people to watch him and look at him and get their attention. And so he's that kind of personality. He draws people.
He's very empathetic. He's the kind that will cry, very sensitive, but at the same time has a lot of strength and perseverance. He is the eldest child, so he possesses a lot of characteristics of being the eldest child.
Wants to take care of us,
Yes.
us old folk,
Yeah.
and make sure that we are okay, and which is a great deal, a great thing for us. Sometimes overboard, but he makes sure that we are taken care of.
He's very dramatic. Whatever happens in his life is going to be drama, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. Sometimes I even think at times he's fatalistic, but I think that he's gotten a lot better at his outlook on life.
And I have seen transition in terms of responsibilities.
Oh, yeah.
What he thought was something initially, he said that he was not going to do anything but theater. But he's learned how to stretch. He's learned how to be open to other possibilities and resources and being open to learn. And he calls it that he's more mature now. And we all become mature.
We thank God for maturity, yeah.
I have 2 children, Ashley Nicole Morgan, and then I have Brandon Joseph Morgan. And honestly, no, not honestly, because I'm glad he's here, but if I had known that Brandon's going to be who he was, I might have 1 child. But I have 2, and I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I truly am.
Okay,
And
great.
I'm proud of it.
Great. So, what is it about Brandon that makes him so special?
As I said, Brandon is a born leader. Brandon has always been the type of child that I guess made his own path, so to speak. If anything happened or if he chose to do something, you know that it was Brandon that chose to do it. It wasn't like his friends that say, come on, man, let's do this, let's go there. Not Brandon. If anything, his friends are going to follow him. So I always tried to instill in Brandon to be, since he was a leader, to be a good leader, to encourage the right thing, do the right thing, because people were looking up to him. He wasn't looking up to other people. He was leading the way. So I always asked him to please just lead everyone else in the right direction.
What have been some of the struggles with your son being an actor?
Money. I knew
A second job
when he
or
went into
something,
this,
some kind of supplement.
that we were gonna be poor.
Yeah, money.
Just to supplement something.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've been waiting.
Brandon,
Right.
I love that you act, and I know that's wonderful, but I need you to have some type of supplement,
Regular income.
Right. Because once that play is over,
what's next, right?
Exactly.
and I need you to get something.
Right, life keeps going on.
Yes. and the bank can't stay open forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and so it's interesting that so Kendrick decided that he was going to quit his teaching job and that he was going to move to California to make it big. And it just so happened that during the period where he decided he was going to make it big, the economy fell out of everything. And his friends were calling and saying, "No, don't come up here. It's not worth it right now. Nobody's working. It's hard right now." And so I remember saying to him, because when he told me that he was quitting his job as a teacher to go to California, I'm not going to say what I said.
Why don't you
Pastor,
say it?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Pastor. I'm going to keep it to myself. He knows. No, you need a job. You need a job because your dad and I cannot pay your bills. And so, we went through that little phase, and so I was so happy when he came and said, "Mom, I got a teaching job." Hallelujah! Thank you, Jesus, because I couldn't keep doing it.
He's my role model. Your son.
And I was like, son, I understand your passion. I get that, but right now you're making money being a teacher. You're not making money being an actor, and so now you gotta choose because mom and daddy can't keep doing this, And so, definitely the money, son.
Plus, I'm waiting for him to take care of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just himself, but now he got a family, and now he's, I'm waiting for my granny pod in the back of the.
That was my thing with money.
Yeah.
And finally, because I was praying, I was like, Brandon, you got to get something. He'd get a little something, and then it was gone.
Yes.
Get a little something, was
It's
it Landry's? No, Sawgrass. Or different, just little, for a little bit, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
I was like, Brandon, it's got to be consistent. So now he's matured. Thank you, Jesus. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Lord, answer my prayer. And I'm not being, I truly have been praying, and he answered my prayer because I wanted him to get to a point where, okay, I'm mature, I got to get a job, and I got to keep it for a while, long while, because this bank was closing.
Well, my husband was an actor when I met him, and when we got married, I decided that I wanted to give him that opportunity, at least a year or two, to just try, and I would support it. But I kept looking at, he would get jobs, and then it'd be a long time before he'd get another one, and after a while, especially when we started having children, he'd started taking on any job. He even went to McDonald's or somewhere, and they would say he was overqualified. But when we started having children, especially when Joseph came, he just started working. He just decided it was time for him to start doing some other things as well.
I think that was, that you have to try it. You need to test it. You need to see it. You need to feel it. You need to experience it. And I did. And my father gave me such great wisdom when I left Piedmont, Alabama, and was flying to New York City to be big. He said, why don't you apply for New York University, just in case other things don't work out? That was great wisdom, because 2 weeks in New York, I realized that somebody's starving and we need some alternatives. And so work study became a great thing at NYU. And so the woman said to me, you have been coming here every day, and so I want you to make sure you fill this paper out and so that you can get you a job. And that's how I was employed, and also went back to school. And so the whole dream in terms of NYU and performing was not put on hold, but it was something that was happening simultaneously. And so here's the point. I had never been down there at NYU. I don't know who she was talking about, she had seen. But somehow the connection in terms of God had orchestrated all of that for me. And I got employed. I learned another skill set because I was in the sleep-wake disorder unit in the Bronx. And so I created some other things based upon that experience. And so there are routes, but I think it's necessary for you to go out and risk sometime so that you can see the depth of what is happening and then come to a resolve as to what is going to happen.
Maybe that's what Brandon was doing at the time, and I just didn't know.
And I understand how it gets into your bank and your pocket. So
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It was, it was hard.
Yeah.
Joe kept trying to remind me. You said that you'd give me a year. I was like, yeah, but this is a long year. We're gonna have to do something.
Yes.
We're gonna have to do something else right now.
He kept saying, "It's my passion, Mom.
Right,
It's my
right.
passion. It's your passion, but it's not mine right now. I
Right.
just need to
Yeah, that's very true.
I
to
respect it's your
supplement.
passion.
I need you to supplement. You know, I need to know that you
Yeah.
can survive on your own
Right.
without me, because my fear was something would happen to me. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
So now I can be at peace. So thank you.
Are you at peace now?
I am.
Okay, good.
Thank you. You better
Are
hold
y'all
on.
at peace
You better
now?
hold on to it.
I am. Yeah, with him having a full-time
Yes.
benefit job. I'm at peace.
I'm at peace.
I'm at peace.
Thank
I'm
you.
getting there.
He can take care of my grandkids. I'm at peace.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
You getting it?
I'm getting there because I think you just got there. So I'm getting there. Yeah.
I've gotten there many different ways.
Well, that's a better interpretation.
Yeah, Brandon might have thought he was
Right, he was talking-
but he was not.
Right.
But he's there now.
Right.
Believe it, you're there.
Right.
How has your son being in the arts made him a better man or human being? Or has it?
Hmm.
I wouldn't say that it made him a better man. I think he was always a good man. Regardless to what profession he chose, because he had a really, really good example of what it is to be a man and to be responsible and to take care of his family and to do what needs to be done, as a man. Now, it enhanced it, his acting. I feel like it was enhanced because of it, but I wouldn't ever be able to say that he's the man that he is today because of acting. I think he's the man that he is today because of the example that was put before him. So
That's good. I think one of the things that Joe and I have always kind of been out of the box. We could never do just a 9-to-5 job. We're always going to put a different spin on it, and I think that set Joseph up to not be in the box as well, which I think is good. He's not a stereotypical black male, but I think because he acts, it has allowed him to feel all of his emotions and to realize that there are different ways of dealing with life. So I think that it has enhanced him, and especially as I watch him as a father, allowing Lincoln to be able to explore. I know a lot of men would not do that, but opening up, creative ideals and ways for Lincoln to be able to express himself. I think that acting has helped him to do that. And then watching his dad, of course, as she said, his dad gave a great example for him.
I think the entrepreneurial spirit
Yeah.
that you have has enhanced that you have created, taken all these pieces, different experiences, and pulled them together. You started out imjoep.com and some other things, and then you know what you're doing now, and even in terms of your spoken word. I remember when we initiated that a lot in the church, some plays that were happening there, and then you evolved. And next thing I know, I was talking about one of my members there, Derek Hawkins. Next thing I know, you on the stage too, spitting, as they say. And so I think that it does not define you, but what it did was enhance the gifts and the giftedness that you had, and gave you a plethora of other experiences to open you up to be creative and to be entrepreneurial. And I guess starting the church and other things that happened during that time allow for you to see how to start things, how to create things, how to make it your own. And hopefully, even out of the mistakes and failures that we had and made, that you probably have learned from that as well.
Yeah, I would say Brandon has just always been his own person. So I wouldn't say so much act the theater brought anything out of him. It may have enhanced him, but he's always been his own special person. I know. I remember him writing a story. I think I still have the book somewhere at home. And that creativity.
I remember.
Oh, he remembers. Okay. And I think I still have that little thing in the thing. But reading that, I was like, oh my gosh, where this came from, this little brain here? It was just so creative and just mind blowing that it just came from this little tight. So he's always had that creative mind and brain all along. So I think that the theater just enhanced what he already had.
Do you think that your sons have reached their peak in their career?
No.
As far as acting wise,
No.
theater wise, acting wise, film wise?
No, I think that he's very good. Of course, I'm just talking to his mom, of course. But I believe that, he can go further, definitely.
Great room to expand.
I don't think he's there yet. I think because he's so passionate about his gift, I honestly feel like he has a lot to offer the world as a whole. And that is actually one of my prayers, that sometimes you got to be in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my prayer has been that he's in the right place at the right time, because I feel like he's better than Denzel Washington. I feel like he's better than a Chadwick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that it's because he's my son. It's because just like they're passionate about their gift, he's passionate about his gift. And so, I feel like he deserves the opportunity. And so I'm praying that, just one day when he's on that stage, somebody is sitting there that could set the ball in motion for him. And so he's not there yet. He has a lot to offer. He has a lot to offer this world. And my prayer is going to always be, God, let it happen.
Yes.
Let it happen.
I think for me, I think Joseph limited himself to what he could see. And so I think that there's so much more. And it may not be the way that he thought that it was going to be, but, just listening to his spoken word and with all this going on in the world, and to even hear the way he addresses, justice issues and other things, I think that God has a much bigger plan for him and it will include and come through the theater, through his acting. And so I'm excited to see what else is on the horizon for him.
I think that when I say expansive, I'm talking about you should always be a student, always be a learner, and you never get to the place where you reach a peak. I think that's the lack of growth then. So there's something always that you can learn, something you can always experience. And so just keep it open, keep it open, keep it open. And just be inquisitive and curious always to get a sense of what's next,
And thank you for saying that, because after y'all were done, that was where I was going to go. I was like, yeah, just keep it going, because you can always learn.
Yeah.
Because he's the baby, and the youngest, they have their own way of doing things. They kind of think they run everybody, and he pretty well kind of ran the family for a little bit. And so the youngest, they're determined, and I want to say kind of get their way a little bit, and that didn't go well with my oldest daughter, but that's kind of like what happened. The youngest one kind of got their way a little bit, and so Brandon's a little spoiled because he was the youngest. But as far as the special, I think he and I have a special bond, just the two of us, although we sometimes look like, from the outside, like oil and water, but he and I still have I think a special bond.
So, can you give me a funny, dramatic, serious, or a story about Brandon that you would like to share? No matter what it is, it's okay. It's a safe space.
I can think of Brandon. Brandon was a different kind of child growing up. I just remember him. Most kids like cartoons and stuff like that. Brandon liked Discovery Channel and Animal, whatever that was, Planet, or I don't remember. But he would watch the television, and then it's like, Mom, what is this? What is this? And I'd have to go get a dictionary because they'd say some word that he didn't know. I didn't know either. And I have to look it up in the dictionary to tell him what it was. And then finally, I just invested in some encyclopedias and a dictionary and taught him how to use a dictionary so that he would look the word up himself. He was just different like that. Very, very intelligent in my mind. Even in school, Brandon was a busy person. So the teachers would, call me at work, Miss Morgan, Brandon is being Brandon. At one point, I even thought I would just quit my job and just enroll in whatever school he was attending, because I was at school more than I was at work, because they needed help to keep him quiet and still and whatever the case may be. But he got through it, thank you. But here's the best part of it. Although he was busy and stuff in class, he'd come out with straight A's. Go figure. So, I mean, he's like talented and bright, and they just needed to work with him because he definitely knew what he was doing.
Give me one story about KB.
Oh my God, you want just one? Okay. So there was a time when I used to always tell my kids the one thing that I did not want them to do was to lie to me, because I felt like there would come a time in our lives that I would need to know that he was telling me the truth. And so this is something that I stress to them. And certainly it happened. And when someone said that my son did something, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that he didn't do it, because his entire life I asked him not to lie to me, and he stuck with that. And so, you know, he's an honest child. He's going to tell you the truth. You may not accept it, but I guarantee you it is going to be the truth. That's something that I instilled in him, and he stuck with it his entire life.
So, what makes him special?
Because he's our child. No,
He's special because he is, number one, intuitive.
yeah.
He's open. He doesn't mind, failing. Get up and try it again.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like, is that he will keep trying, keeps at it.
And I have seen such a tremendous evolution of his giftedness. He is very gifted and has been blessed with many, 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 many gifts. And I have seen how he has grown and matured and a tremendous actor. And I have
Y'all can tell who's in charge over here.
been overwhelmed by the fact that he would choose something that I had chosen initially in my life. And so I have been pleased with the fact that he has taken that road. I forgot to tell him that you don't make much money initially, but if it's your passion, you learn how to receive it and then think of other ways.
They got to get a word in right now.
Oh, well, please. All right.
One of the things
And the other thing is
that makes him more special.
Okay.
You need to be quiet right now. One of the things that makes him special is that he's not ashamed to show his emotions. I think for most men, they feel they have to be a certain way, but I think part of that I'm sure he got from his dad, because his dad is like that as well. He's also special because he doesn't recognize all of his gifts, or he doesn't want to recognize them. Because we both are pastors, he's made sure that the last thing he does is preaches, but he's in ministry every time he gets up and speaks. So we just don't call it that for his sake, but we know that God has his hands on him in a lot of ways.
Are you finished?
Yes, I'm done.
And he's also an excellent writer. He knows how to put his words and thoughts together in some ways in such a creative way
He got that from me.
that you can say that. That's fine. God bless you. But seriously, he has a great sense of humanity
Yeah.
and a great calling on his life.
He's a great dad, great father.
Awesome. And an awesome husband.
Yes.
Here recently, just got married. And so we are so proud of him and Kate and my boy Lincoln. And one of the things about Joseph when he was a baby, when he would get excited, he would be half a verse. You got me now, I can't get the word out. Effervescent? Okay. Stop interrupting me. A lot of energy. And when he would laugh, his whole body would laugh. And I see the same thing in terms of
You can tell
me.
he's an actor, can't you?
How have your children changed you?
Think about it.
Yeah, I got some time.
We can edit that.
So I can say, and this is kind of personal, but I think that, and you know, and we're talking about Kendrick because Kendrick is my firstborn, and so he changed me in the way of I wanted to learn everything that I possibly could about being a good mother, um, about doing whatever it is. Because I can remember the jobs that my mother took, you know, just so that we could have. I mean, we didn't have a lot of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were poor, but we didn't know it because, you know, my mom mopped up the people's floors, and, you know, made up their beds and took care of their kids. And so I always knew that whenever I became a mother, that I was going to put forth the efforts that my mother did so that he didn't know that we didn't have it. You know, we just kind of made it happen by any means necessary. So, you know, he changed me to the point where, you know how you never know what love really is until that moment happens, you know, so to speak. And so when Kendrick, I was young. I was young when Kendrick was born. And so, you know, thank God, I had the support of my mother. And so I just knew that when they handed him to me, uh, that this was the person that was going to change my life. This person here was going to make me the woman that I know I could be.
That's good.
And this is the person that I'm gonna give my all to. I'm everything that I got, I'm gonna give it to him. And so of course I had two others after that, but the point is he changed me for the better, and he opened up my way of thinking to where I wasn't stagnated. I grew up in a little small Louisiana town, and you know, in all honesty, there wasn't a lot to offer for us. And so I just made up my mind early on after I had Kendrick that this is not going to be Kendrick's life. You know, I need to push him out there because there's so much more to the world than what I can see right here. And so he was pretty much my motivation to get up and make things happen, you know. And so that's what I did. So that's how he changed me as an individual, because everything I did at that point was about him and eventually my other kids. So don't cry, son.
No, I'm not.
You have been my greatest mirror, which means cause me to reflect and see myself. I had to confront insecurities. I had to confront inadequacies. I had to confront failures. I had to confront weaknesses. So when you first came, I was terrified because I did not know how to father. And I had to learn that on the job training, and how to take care of this person, how to save him, how to protect him, how to keep him, how to love him. And so you created for me, Joseph, the opportunity to learn a whole bunch of stuff about myself and to learn how to become a better man, a better husband, a better father. When you were born, I was very protective and possessive, and nobody could touch you, nobody could hold you, nobody could keep you, because you don't know how to do this. I got this. And so I kept folk away from you for a long period of time because I felt I had gotten a raw deal. I had left New York, and New York was my dream. Here I am in the wilderness in Texas, and now I'm married and I got this child. And so I had to confront a whole bunch of things about what my goal and what my future and what my dreams were. And I was an angry man. And so God had placed you as a love offering inside of me to allow me to confront the anger, the hurt, the disappointment, the failure, the weakness, so that I would have an object that I could love differently and show some things differently. And I had prayed at the beginning, God, I give you back him to you. And you do with him how you choose to do it. And so the blessing has been is to see the evolution of you, but also see the evolution of me.
Wonderful. Okay. Beautiful. um,
I think that the way that Joseph and Joffrey have changed me was I grew up with a lot of abuse as a child, and I think part of what they did is Joseph became my peace. I often tell him he's my heart and Joffrey's my soul. And so when I would have a bad day, as I went into a profession that was definitely male dominated, when I would face discrimination and abuse again, I would look forward to coming to pick Joseph up from the babysitter, and he would just make me forget everything because I didn't know the amount of capacity of love that I had in me to be able to parent him. I don't think I was the best parent, but I think I did the best that I knew to do. And so watching him expand and take on this entrepreneurial spirit has encouraged me to continue pressing forward, even at this age, to continue discovering new things about myself, to discover things that I can do, and most of all, to not embarrass him. I always want to make him proud, and as he has made me proud. I mean, I can't even tell you the capacity that I hold in the respect that I have for him and the love that I have for him, and how that has expanded, even watching him handle difficult things, and especially watching him now as a husband and father. I think he's made me a better person for sure. Has allowed me to see a lot of my faults and a lot of my weaknesses, some things that I regret because I see them in him, and I push so that they don't become his as big an obstacle as it was for me, just trying to make sure that he doesn't end up in places that I ended up in, and he gives me hope. He really does give me a lot of hope.
I think Brandon has taught me to be patient. I would say patient. I told you I have two. I have two children. Ashley, his oldest sister, and then Brandon came along. And I tell you, Ashley was the little princess, a little quiet, just demeanor. I mean, just kind and just easy to. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, yay, good. Brandon came out and he was the total opposite of Ashley. Total opposite. So it was like learning to be patient, learning that patience with him. but at the same time, you know, he was just like a little spark of energy for us all. You know, it just kind of kept us going and kept us busy. And my mother will say that Brandon was much like me. I was a busybody, which I didn't know that, but she told me that is me when I was younger. You know, just the burst of energy. I was busy and learning patience. That's what she said. So I guess for me, it's learning patience. You know, but at the same time, Brandon has a way of. I remember this one story about Brandon. Ashley might not be happy with me, but do you remember this when Ashley had her, what was it, prom or?
Yeah.
Prom. Oh my gosh. I will never forget this. That Ashley had prom and her date did not show up. And she was so emotional. I'm trying to stay strong for her. And I remember, her dad and I, you know, trying to console Ashley. We're all downstairs, you know, just trying to, you know, keep her calm and, you know, trying to make her feel better. Brandon was there. We didn't know he had disappeared. He came downstairs in his suit. Oh my gosh. In his suit. And he said, Ashley, I'll take you to I'll take you to the prom. And I was already bawling with Ashley. I'm about to bawl now, but that side of Brandon, you know, that, and here's the deal: for Brandon, he doesn't let everybody see that side of him anymore. I don't know why, but anyway, but that little guy, yeah, he said, "I'll take you to the prom," and so we all got dressed and we took her to Olive Garden. I think it was Olive Garden, and he was her little date. You know, he was like letting her order and stuff like that. So that part of him, you know, to me is like, okay, patience, and then just the part that he hides from everybody else that he needs to let out. That part changed me because I was like, this little guy is just trying to be the best he can be for his sister. And I want to be the best mom, the best.
What's some advice that you would want KB to have before you were to leave this earth?
Wow. The advice that I would want him to, I would tell him, son, whatever you do in this life, I want you to always, always put God first. Because if you do that, I can guarantee you that it's going to work in your favor. From raising your kids to your career to just being the man that you are, if you allow God to lead you, you will not go wrong. That's the best advice that I can give to my son, because I believe it with all my heart.
Thank you.
All right. So, what is a integral piece of advice that you would impart to Brandon before you leave this earth?
I would tell Brandon to be a man of his word. When you say you're going to do something, do it. And then, but first, my favorite passage, which I instill in my kids, is just be still and know God. You know, when you're in doubt, when you're just anything. Just be still for a moment and just listen to the word of God, and He will guide you.
Thanks, Mom!
Oh, God!
What is one short piece of advice you want your son to know before you leave this earth?
You stopped
Now
speaking,
go,
didn't
go,
you?
go.
Oh, wow. One thing that I want him to know is that when life gets hard and difficult, it doesn't mean that it's over. It just means that he has to press in harder, and that God never closes one door without opening something else. It may be very different than what he expected, but it is his path nonetheless.
One of the things I want him to always realize and know is that he is loved.
Yeah.
He is loved tremendously by us.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to doubt that, no matter what he chooses and no matter what happens in life. The other thing is that life is seasonal.
Yeah.
So don't give up in spring or winter, because it's
Summer's
seasonal.
coming, yeah.
Summer's come,
Yeah.
and then it goes. And so choose to hang in there until everything happens.
Thank you.
Whew. Oh, you were on stage, man.
Alright, y'all. Thank you, Mama. Oh, I almost cried a couple times. You want some tissue? I almost gave you. Oh, y'all. Thank y'all.
Actors Quarantine Corner!
Y'all really trying to make us cry.
You got him after that.
I know, yeah.
You
Broke them down. Broke them down.
Mini
Broke them
service.
down. Well, I must say, this is very, like, I ain't about to get emotional because I'm a gangster.
When it gets
No, but it's very like it's very like comforting and reassuring to like just even hear y'all sit here and discuss that. You know what I mean? Because I mean I know we all deal with it in our own minds, like regardless of what we hear from our parents and other people and getting jobs and not getting jobs, but you know, to the people that we want to make proud, just to sit here and listen to that a little bit. Not saying we never heard it, but to hear it, you know, unadulterated, it's very reassuring. I mean,
it
for
was
me,
cool
at least,
just to hear it from y'all.
Yeah,
because
like,
we watched this experience through our eyes, but to see how y'all watched it.
Because you know, we are y'all children, and y'all know way more about us than just theater. So it's like, you know, just to hear it, man. I thank y'all.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you.